Now let us see how we can reverse a list inside Elixir. So for example, we have a list and this list has two elements 2 and 3. So this list would look something like this inside your memory. So we have two nodes. So this node is for 2 and this node is for 3. Now here goes my question. Suppose we have two more nodes. On the left here we can see that we have one node, and on the right here we can see that we have one more node. So now the question is, would adding this node to our list of 2 and 3 would be faster, or adding 4 to our list of 2 and 3 would be faster? So what do you think? This operation would be faster or this operation would be faster? So the answer is adding this node would be faster, and this happens in constant time. And the reason is we don't have to traverse throughout this entire list. We simply take a node and we simply point the tail to an existing list, and that's it. But what happens if we want to add a node at the last? At that time it is not efficient because it is going to take a linear time. And adding this node takes a linear time because we have to traverse through the entire linked list. So in this case we have to go from this node to this node, and after that we can point the tail of this node to our last node. So it takes linear time. So just keep this thing in mind that adding a node to the head would be always faster, and adding a node at the last would take linear time. With this logic in place, let us see how we can reverse a list. So for example, we have a list right over here and we have elements of 1, 2 and 3. So at that time we will take one more accumulator list, and for each iteration we will take the head of this one and we will insert that head inside our accumulator list. So what happens for the first iteration is we simply take out the head and we insert the head inside our accumulator. Now here, since we are inserting at the head, this operation takes constant time. And for the next iteration, what happens, since we have taken out 1, your list now becomes 2 and 3. So for the next iteration, we simply take out 2 and we add 2 to the head of our existing list. Now again, since we are adding to the head, this operation also happens in linear time. Now going to our original list, since we have taken out 2, we have just one element left, and the same thing happens. We simply take the 3 out and we add 3 to the head of our accumulator list, and that's it. We have reversed a linked list, or rather we have simply reversed a list inside Elixir. So let us write the code for this one and let us see these things in action. So here let me put up a comment. This is going to be our function of reverse. Here let us define a function called as reverse. Now this function accepts two parameters. The first one is for our elements, the second one is for the accumulator. And let us define the function signature right over here. So in case the accumulator is not given, at that time we simply want to set the accumulator to be a blank list. The next comes our base case. So let me copy and paste, and here we can pattern match, and we can say that in case we have a blank list right over here, at that time we simply want to return back our accumulator. So here I can say do and my accumulator. The next comes our recursive case. So again let me copy and paste. Now here what we can do is we can simply pattern match for the list. So we can take the head and we can also take the tail, and for each iteration we have to call the same function back. Now let us see how we can pass the arguments for our tail recursive function. First let us write the argument for our accumulator. So if we go back to our diagram, so here what we want to do is we want to take the head and we want to insert the head inside our accumulator. So that's what we can do over here. So we simply want to take the head and we want to add the head to our accumulator. Now let us again go back to the diagram. Now since we have taken out 1, our list for the next iteration should be 2 and 3, and we can very easily do that. So for the next iteration we simply have to pass the tail back, and that's it. We have a very nice tail recursive program to reverse our list. So let us try this program inside our IEX. So let me open up my terminal. Let me go inside my IEX. Now here let me clear up my screen, and I can say that I want to go from my module of tutorials to my list and I want to reverse, and let us pass the argument of 1, 2 and 3, and as expected we get back the answer as 3, 2 and 1. Now the last thing inside this video is let us also write the specifications for this function. Here we can use the module attribute for our specifications, and we can say that our function of reverse. Now here we can say that elements is actually going to be a list, and since we don't know what type of elements would be there inside the list, we can say that they can be of any type. And the same thing goes for our accumulator as well. Here let me show you one more alternate syntax. So instead of writing list, we can simply write a list like this, and inside the list we can specify that this list can hold any kind of elements. And again, for the return type, we can say that the return type is also a list, and this list can hold anything, so we can specify any right over here. And just for the sake of consistency, let me convert this as well. So let me put square brackets. We don't need this. And that's it for this video. I'll catch you in the next one.